Welcome to the channel, everybody, and welcome to a prep for Showdown and beyond. So, I cannot play too much of this game because, quite frankly, I believe it is in a terrible spot. I always start with that because I want to let you know that I'm doing this to help you, but I don't want you to think that I am endorsing this game because, quite frankly, it continues to go on a downward spiral, and I don't believe it is a skill-based game like it used to be. I believe that there are far too many exploits that allow low-level players to beat out skill players, and when that's the case, the game just isn't worth it, in my opinion. However, if you are having fun, if you still play this game, then to each his own, and I absolutely can and will help you succeed. So first off, you need to know your skins, right? These green skins were all the rage, and in many positions they still are great, right? Many positions you want to keep your green skins on your players if you have them. However, there are some positions and some players that had green skins that just weren't very helpful. The stat boosts weren't very helpful to their position, right? So some of those players could absolutely use some of these new skins. Case in point, you look at the CDM, Chouameni. His green skin gives him pass accuracy, shot power, long shots, and weaker foot, none of which are extremely helpful defensively. So then you look at this epic, not even legendary yet, but this epic piece set, and he gets defensive positioning and stamina as well as an awareness boost. And remember, that's not even the legendary. There's a version up, and there are also other skins to look at. So I would much rather have anything that helps him defensively as a CDM or in a secondary position as a center back rather than anything attacking, because most likely Chouameni, you're not using him in any type of attacking role. As far up the pitch as he'll go is a CM position, but even then, he's more of a defensive CM. So make sure you are looking at all of these new skins and seeing if the green skins that you have, if you have them, or even the older skins that you may be using, check if these new skins will be more useful, and make sure you check out the skin lab so you can upgrade your skins and get rid of that stockpile of lower level skins that you will never use. Now, this is the skin set that I went with outside of the green skins and the personal Ronaldo skin that I have. And there are 3 legendaries and 2 epics. So the 3 legendaries, Jonathan David, Mendy, and then Kanate, and then the 2 epics, Chouameni and Donnarumma. All 5 of these have very useful boosts. Not every one necessarily was better than their green skin. Most of them were in these positions. However, in order to activate these skin sets right, you need a certain amount of players. Level 1 is 3 players. Level 2 is 5 players. So that's what I went with. The other green skins, there was no way I'm replacing them. The only other one that I could use a boost on is Valverde, just because that particular individual skin set isn't a very good one as far as the boost that Valverde gets. Now, moving on from skins, you see I'm in my 4-3-1-2, which I just released a tactics video on. It is the best setup you can have in this game as far as keeping your opponent at bay with all the exploits and, basically what the current quote-unquote meta is. And in the attack, it is the best way to create and score goals, even though that is quite a task right now. But starting defensively, you see plenty of numbers back. Those 3 midfielders help your back 4 and create a back 7 that is extremely hard for your opponent to penetrate, especially in that middle dangerous area where some players are going to look for that long curling shot, particularly with Ronaldo, or just the long low shot, which is also very dangerous now. So you have the best chance at shutting that down with this setup, even if your opponent is going for the L1, R2 dribble, or just a dribbler, period, even if they're not using the glitch dribble. That back 7 is also very good at closing down those gaps where players usually dribble through. So if you're pressing with your wing backs or your center backs, you will see that these center midfielders with their defensive settings will get back and cover when you go up to press. So if you get beat by any chance, you have cover. It is an excellent setup, the best defensive setup you can have. Not to mention, once you win the ball and get it to your midfield or win it with your midfield like you do many times, the setup here creates natural passing lanes into your attack so you can just transition seamlessly and get to creating and scoring goals yourself. That is another great thing about this setup. Just make sure you have that one true number 6 like I have Chouameni, and then 2 great box-to-box type of midfielders, which I have Camavinga, who I strongly suggest in any team as that secondary defensive midfielder because he is a great box-to-box type of player in UFL. And secondary to that, I have Valverde, who is more attacking but still has his defensive abilities. So I strongly suggest you go with a three-man setup like that. Your true number 6, and then 2 box-to-box type midfielders with one leaning more defensively, one leaning more attacking. And speaking of attack, your front 3 in this setup are the best that you can have, right? Now, it is still very difficult to score. The goalkeepers are still extremely overpowered, right? We went from the goalkeepers being terrible to now they save absolutely everything, which is why many players just go for exploit shots, such as the 30-yard curler with Ronaldo, which is still broken, right? They supposedly patched it, but it's almost like they patched it for everybody but Ronaldo. I will say now you have to power it just a little bit differently. However, you still can score. You see a couple of goals, or you'll see a couple of goals from Mbappe, such as that one there. All I did there was get in at an angle and then powered up about 70%, and the goalkeeper had no chance. Now, sometimes those type of opportunities where you think the goalkeeper has no chance, they will be saved. It's just the name of the game right now. In the last shot I want to let you know about, you've seen a couple of highlights in this video, right, is the long, low driven shot, right? Those are very useful. The goalkeeper saved a couple from this video, but if taken at the right angle with the right power, those can and will go in. Now, go into Showdown, go into Divisions, dominate, and then come into comments. Let me know how you did. I hope this video was useful. As always, keep grinding, keep having fun. Peace out.